heard the endless food battles and debates. Whether a hot dog is a sandwich or if it's a taco, we all have opinions on it. But have you ever stopped to think about cereal? Cereal is a soup. Now, first thought might be, why does that even matter? Well, it matters because how we define our food categories, breakfast versus dinner, cereal versus soup, actually shapes culture, marketing, and even how we think about food. By looking at something as seemingly silly as is cereal a soup, we can uncover how arbitrary our definitions are and how we can think more flexibly. After researching dictionary definitions, food science commentary, and cultural food classification articles, I found that cereal meets every major criteria for being a soup. Cereal isn't just like soup, it is soup, and we should treat it that way. Today I'll show you 3 things: how cereal fits the technical definition of soup, how cultural perception keeps us from seeing it that way, and finally how we can change that by simply adjusting how we think and talk about food. Let's start with the definition. According to Merriam-Webster, soup is a liquid food, often with pieces of solid food in a liquid base. When you make your cereal, what do you need? A bowl, milk, and cereal pieces. Milk gives you that liquid base, while the cereal pieces give you the solids. It is often argued that soup has to be hot, but that's simply not true. Plenty of soups are cold, like gazpacho, and if you think about it, cereal even follows the same serving patterns as soup. You pour it, you stir it, and you eat it with a spoon. Some people even add extras. You might add fruit, nuts, or sugar to your cereal, just like you would garnish a soup with herbs or croutons. Structurally and behaviorally, they're identical experiences. By definition, cereal checks every box. The liquid base, the solids added, eaten with a spoon, and served in a bowl. So if cereal fits the definition perfectly, why don't we call it a soup? The answer lies in our culture and our perception. Culturally, we've decided that cereal belongs to breakfast, while soup belongs to lunch or dinner. One tends to be sweet and cold, while the other tends to be savory and warm, but those categories are completely made up. The truth is that the cereal industry built that divide. For decades, marketing companies pushed cereal as its own exclusive breakfast category to keep consumers buying it separately from other foods. Historically, people didn't even eat cereal the way that we do now. Early versions, like granula and grape nuts, were considered healthy foods, not sugary breakfast treats. It wasn't until the early 1900s when Kellogg's and Post began aggressively marketing cereal as the morning meal, solidifying it as something separate from soups or from porridges. Language and habit reinforce it too. People say soups are savory or soups have to be cooked, but those aren't rules. They're just norms that we've accepted without question. As Food Republic points out, temperature or flavor doesn't define a soup. Its structure does. So the problem isn't the food itself, it's our perception. And if perception is the problem, then we can change the narrative. Here's my proposal. Let's start recognizing cereal as a kind of soup. How? Encourage food writers, educators, and even dictionary editors to note cereal as a cold breakfast soup. And in our daily lives, playfully start calling it that. Instead of saying I'm having cereal, say you're having breakfast soup. Challenge rigid labels. Next time you're talking about food, ask why can't cereal be a soup? This solution doesn't cost anything. It's just about changing language and perspective. A food science study from ResearchGate even suggests maybe we should categorize food by their physical structure, like liquids with solids, rather than by the old traditions. And think about the bigger picture. When we start rethinking food categories, we open ourselves to cultural variety. In many parts of the world, people already eat soups, porridges, or stews for breakfast. Japan has miso soup and China has congee. By accepting cereals as a soup, we're not being silly, we're actually becoming more globally minded about what a meal actually is. Imagine future menus listing cold milk-based cereal soup under the soups section, or culinary textbooks describing cereals as a subsection of soups. It might sound funny at first, but it helps us see food in a more open-minded and creative way. All of this boils down to that cereal is a soup. We should acknowledge it as such. It is not just the same as. It fits the technical definition to a T, and the only reason we think it's not is due to cultural and marketing to make us see it differently. The solution is simple and practical, just to shift our language and embrace cereal as a soup. Next time you pour yourself a bowl of cereal, pause for a second. You're not just eating breakfast, you're eating breakfast soup. Have fun with it. Tell your friends, soup for breakfast isn't weird, it's